When you think about it, obviously this guy's 29 years old. When he's healthy, especially right now in the prime of his career, he's arguably a top 10 player, a top 5 big man in the league. So you have to figure out, is this guy going to dedicate his summer to trying to stay healthy, working on his body? Obviously, you can't predict injuries, but you would love to see him put the work in that's necessary and change some things up about his workout regimen so he can kind of hopefully try to stay away from being injured. But you got to, because this is your future. LeBron James is still playing at a very high level. So if you can get AD back to that top 5 level, now you're back in the mix. But obviously you got to continue to put a good supporting cast. But now you get those two guys playing at the top level. Now you put yourself back in that conversation in that mix really quickly. But until AD makes a commitment to working on his health and getting his body together, it's tough. So that's got to be your first and main concern. It's got to be AD. The Westbrook situation, obviously contract helps you. Him going into his last year of his deal, teams will be more apt to take that contract on. I think the thing with Westbrook is you have to be respectful, I think, to certain guys. This is the first ballot Hall of Famer. You guys know how much I love Westbrook. So just trading him anywhere I think is not respectful. He needs to go somewhere where a team wants him. Westbrook may have to accept a situation like a Derrick Rose and come off the bench and be a 15, 16-point scorer if a team does not want to start him. But I think it's other teams out there, like the Charlotte Hornets will be a disaster. They're not going to take him, and they got Ball and Terry Rozier. So that will be a disaster for them to take them. I know they're looking at the Michael Jordan-Westbrook relationship, but that'll be a disaster. So hopefully it's other teams and other suitors that's out there for them. If they need to figure out some teams, I hope they call me and I can help them figure out a couple of teams that Westbrook would fit on. Like the Knicks. We can go back to Washington or New Orleans. I'm just throwing a few teams out there, guys, besides the Charlotte Hornets who don't need him at all.
I'm trying to help my boy out.
Anthony. Trying to help my boy out.
We see that.
I agree with you that AD's health is the bigger problem. But to Russ, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be traded into a great situation. It could be a good situation individually. Like I don't think New York will do it. But if he went to New York, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Get that cap room, right, after next season. But if he went to New York, he'd be in a position maybe to put up numbers, which could be good individually. But he's not going into a winning situation at this stage of his career. But I do agree with you. I think they'll be able to trade him. Charlotte's been out there, I've been told emphatically from somebody that would know that's not happening. But there are those around the league who think maybe the Hornets would do it. How about Indiana? They're blowing it up. I mean, they traded Domantas Sabonis, who's great, an all-star. Karis LeVert, they traded. They got the young Tyrese Halliburton, who they want to build around. Would they give up a Malcolm Brogdon and a Buddy Hield for Westbrook? Because here's the thing about the Lakers. The Lakers have to get bodies for Westbrook. Like, they can't do the John Wall swap now because that's just one player. That doesn't answer your defensive issues, doesn't answer your shooting issues. So they got to get a few young bodies that can shoot the three and defend and are athletic enough to defend, ideally to go with LeBron and AD. AD, here's what I say to AD quickly, Nick. LeBron has a personal trainer. Mike Mancias is with LeBron all the time, and I know AD knows this, but get you a personal trainer that is with you all the time. LeBron gets massages after like every game. AD's got to start. He's got to get on the LeBron regimen. He should work out with LeBron. Obviously, they're both with Clutch. They can work out to get like.
I'll do it.
AD has got to learn from LeBron, sit at his feet and see why this guy is so healthy. And I know Wiles, AD has pushed back on the narrative that he doesn't work hard enough or his summer program isn't good enough to, keep him healthy. It's just freak accidents. It's been his whole career, though. Look, guys that are injured all the time, it's either genetic and structural, or it's just they didn't put the work in to get their bodies durable enough to handle the pounding. I don't think it's structural. I'm not going to say it's genetic. I think it's that he hasn't built up his body. I'm not saying he loafs all the time. It doesn't work at all. But he's not working at the level that's expected now that you're with the Lakers playing next to LeBron James. Expectations do rise, Wiles, and so his training has to rise.
I get it.
Just follow LeBron, your teammate.
Totally get it. I think that's a fair point. And AD has been mischaracterizing the Lakers' failure of a season and blamed it on the health of the squad multiple times. Even though Kawhi never played a game and the Clippers are in the playoffs, Zion didn't play, the Pelicans are in the playoffs, Jamal Murray didn't play, the Nuggets are in the playoffs. AD played 40 games. LeBron played 50-plus games. Like, Russ only missed a handful of games. Lakers missed the playoffs. Yeah, so the reason they didn't make the playoffs wasn't health. But he also said this, and he's got a point here, Broussard, and I know he's very demonstrative when he gets these little injuries, when he gets pushed down and it looks like the world's ending. My training methods were top tier. I can't control stepping on someone's foot, can't control falling on my leg. Team doctor said if you weren't doing the work you're supposed to be doing this summer, could have been worse. Goes on to say, so people can say what they want to say, but I know what I do every summer to get ready for an 82 game. He's right. He's 100% right if you look at these injuries. December against the Wolves, McDaniel just rolls into him. This has nothing to do with the training. He can't spend more time in the pools, more time with Tom Brady's giant rubber bands. That's an injury.
Listen, the problem is the total body of work here, and that the knock on him out of New Orleans was, fairly or not, the word on him out of New Orleans was something that keeps guys out 3 to 5 days, might keep AD out 2 to 3 weeks. Or that AD guys he's not a big gut through pain guy. That's what the book on him was coming out of New Orleans. And then he seemingly debunked it his first year with the Lakers and then went right back to a guy that misses a lot of time. So I guess I have a theory and a question. The theory is, you guys know how AD, we always talk about how he was a point guard growing up. And then he grew like 9 inches between freshman and sophomore year, and that's why he doesn't want to play center and why he ball handles. So maybe there is, to Bruce's point, some genetics that he grew so fast, you know what I mean, so much so fast that his body is not built to handle. LeBron's been this size since we first saw him at 17 years old. He's just added some muscle, but he's been looked like a 6'8" adult since he was junior at St. Vincent St. Mary's. So I think Antoine, it's less necessarily about the number of injuries. And tell me, I mean, you obviously know this better than any of us, Antoine, and more about how long it takes him to come back from the injuries that I think is eyebrow raising for a lot of people.
I think that's a valid point. And then I think also his game, when he starts the season off, when he is healthy, we want to see more. We want to see Jokic type numbers. We want to see Joel Embiid type numbers. We've seen two guys that have gotten better and better year in and year out, when Anthony Davis has took a decline, even besides the injuries, as far as putting up big numbers. Instead, we're watching LeBron James carry this team again. LeBron thought that AD could carry this team. You all thought it in 2018 after they won the title. We thought AD was the second coming and will be doing what Jokic and Embiid is doing right now over the last couple of years, and he just haven't got there. So I think that plays a part, too, as well.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.